Grijalva from Arizona. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am the proud parent of a freshman at the University of Arizona. And that affordability gap is real. We have a real problem with working families feeling like they can access higher education for their children. So I disagree with the statement that the chairman mentioned at the beginning saying, well, you know, people are questioning the value of higher education. No, we're questioning whether we can send our kids to school, period. So regardless of how academically, you know, their prowess in classrooms, their support systems here, there, and whatever, some of the programs that I believe federal funds have really done right is programs like TRIO. And TRIO are the programs like Upward Bound, Talent Search, and Student Support Services that really help students who are first generation, students who are from families where if these programs weren't available, they wouldn't even know how to access loans. And so I think that those programs are important, and those programs are on the chopping block, and many state and local universities and community colleges have tried to figure out a way to continue to support these programs. So I want to recognize Arizona's TRIO professionals and the Western Association of Educational Support Personnel, work I saw firsthand literally just last week, whose 2026 training, Rooted in Purpose, Growing in Community, reflects the essential role of these federally funded programs and how they play in supporting these students that we're talking about, first generation, low income, and underrepresented students in our community colleges and universities. And while TRIO provides the advocacy and support these students need to navigate higher education, that support must be matched by secure financial foundation. The most effective way to lower costs for these students and their families is to invest in the Pell Grant. As the federal government's foundational investment in college affordability, Pell Grants help more than 7 million students attend and complete college each year. The evidence is clear. Need-based grant aid increases college enrollment and completion for low and moderate income students. Pell Grants are especially well targeted to those with the greatest financial need. 74% of recipients come from families earning $40,000 or less annually, including 34% of families earning $15,000 or less. As a result, the Pell Grant program serves as a powerful engine of economic mobility in communities across the country. Notably, 81% of Black students and nearly 3/4 of Latino students receive Pell Grants during their time in school. So, Mr. Chairman, I ask for unanimous consent to enter into the record an article that further details the impact of Pell Grant programs on college access and student success.
No objection.
Thank you. So students across America are struggling to afford college, not only because of tuition, but because meeting basic needs like food, housing, and childcare has become increasingly difficult. Recognizing these challenges, some institutions are responding with innovative supports for low-income students, including campus food pantries, emergency financial aid, childcare for student parents, flexible options for adult learners. Dr. Morgan, given that the maximum Pell Grant now covers less than 1/4 of the cost of attending a 4-year public college, students are facing massive affordability gap even after receiving aid. Can you provide us with an overview of how this gap contributes to the basic need challenges, such as food and housing insecurity, that students face today?
Yes, I think there are two important factors for us to think about with this basic needs gap. So one is the one that you mentioned, which is the Pell Grant and other aid that students get from their institution or from their state doesn't cover enough of the cost of college, putting a lot of burden on the individual who, as to your point, from lower income families, particularly students of color, those burdens are already pretty insurmountable on their own. I think the other thing to think about is that, you know, the burden of paying for college doesn't fall on a family in a vacuum. It falls in the context of all of the other costs that they face, including healthcare, utilities, all of these costs that are rising under Donald Trump. So I think about the cost of healthcare in particular, where Congress has allowed the subsidies for ACA to lapse, and now families are facing much higher healthcare costs. For some families, that's an additional $4,000 a year, right? That is the cost of attending a community college. It's a big chunk of attending a 4-year institution, and that's putting even more pressure on the individual. And to your point, colleges have done a lot to try to meet these basic needs, but they cannot keep up when this is 3 in 5 students who are facing basic needs challenges.
So how can federal, state, and local governments work with colleges to support students' basic needs?
I think that states and the federal government have to step in here. We have to understand that the aid that and the appropriations that we provide to these institutions are going to be the major way of filling that gap.
Yeah. So the HR 1 repayment assistant plan hurts low-income borrowers. Dr. Morgan, for millions of borrowers, student loan repayment is not just a financial issue. It shapes whether you can save for a home and start a family. So I appreciate all of your feedback here. Thank you, and I yield back.
Thank you.